In this video, I'm going to show you all how to make this very fun looking bookmark. And it has a little tassel if you'd like to attach that, or you can keep it just as a rectangle. So for this project, you're going to need a decent sized amount of yarn. About this much is what we'll need to make our bookmark. You'll need a measuring tape, specifically in inches, or you could use a ruler. You'll need a pair of knitting needles. I'm using a size 10. You'll need a needle to sew your ends in and a pair of scissors to cut your work. You may also want to have a tassel maker. This one is also a tassel and pom-pom maker. That'll make it easier to do the tassel, but I will also show you how to make it using something rectangular. So let's get started making our bookmarks. Okay, to start, we are going to cast on 8 stitches onto our needles. So if you're still pretty new to knitting, I have videos on how to start by casting on. So refer to that video. I'll have linked in the bottom of this video. So cast on your 8. So once you have your 8 cast on, you should have 8 loops on your needle. We will be knitting our first row. So you'll take your needle and put it into that first stitch, just like that. Now make sure you're grabbing, because I sometimes will grab this one and start working it, but you'll run out. So make sure you're grabbing the working yarn that's attached to your skein. You'll wrap it around your needle and slide it back. So that's that new loop we've made. This is our old one. So the old one we slide off. And so that's how you do the knit stitch. So we'll do that all the way across. So you're inserting your needle. You're wrapping around that same needle, and then you slide this one off, and that's your new one. So you'll do that all the way across. Alright, now we finished our first row with doing that knit stitch. So what we'll be doing is we'll just keep continuing back and forth until we have 6 inches, or however long you want your bookmark to be. So if you want it to be more than 6 inches, then you can make it more than, or you can make it shorter. So however length you want to do. I'll work a few rows and then I'll meet you back and we'll see about where that measures. So I've worked quite a few rows now on this bookmark. So let's see how much it measures. So I got my measuring tape here. Mine's a little funky because it's got this huge gap with the 0, so we'll line it up. Let's see, get it all lined up here. So we're looking at about that far, and I want to get it to about 6. So you'll just keep working, because I'm looking at about right about there when I'm checking, because we'll also bind it off and that'll count as a row too. So keep doing your knitting until you get to your desired length, and then I will show you how to bind off. Alright, I think we're about there with 6 inches. Let's see, my measuring tape here. Yeah, so that's pretty good, because it's just going to be a small bookmark. So for this next part is going to be casting off or binding off. And I do have a video on how to do that if you want to watch it at a more slower pace. I'll still walk through it here. So you'll insert just like you're doing, and you'll knit like we've been doing. You'll knit the first one. You'll knit the second one. And this will be where we do our cast off. So you'll take this one right here. You'll try to stick your needle to grab it. And you're going to pull it over that second one and off of your needle. So that's tricky when you're trying not to lose this stitch, because you want to keep that one on here. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll work it over, and then I'll sometimes hold this in place so I don't lose it. And then you'll just knit this next one. And then you'll do the same thing where you pull this one over it. And you just keep repeating that. So you'll knit and then pull that one over it. All the way to the end. And because this is a small project, there's not too many you have to do. Now we're down to our last one. So I'll give myself a little bit of a tail. About that much. Probably even less than that, actually. And then what I like to do is I like to just kind of pull up just a little bit with my needle to make that more of a loop. Take your thread, just pull it through there to create a knot. Now we have our end. So now we're going to get into on how to make the tassel if you want, or you could just leave it just like this and just weave in your ends and have a bookmark. But if you want to do the tassel, I'll show you how to do that. So getting to the tassel making, I have a handy dandy little tassel pom-pom maker here. But if you don't have anything of that sort, you could easily use a sturdy, I have a piece of wood here that you could wrap your yarn around to do that. I think I've even seen people use a fork. So you just need something to be able to wrap around your yarn. So I'll show with using this piece of wood. So what you'll want to do is secure your thread, and you just wrap your yarn around. I don't really count how many times I wrap. I just kind of look at it and be like, is that about how thick? Because what we're going to do is we're going to cut this and then tie it. So about how thick do you want your tassel to be? So if you wrap it a lot of times, you'll have a really big tassel. If you only do a little bit, you won't have one quite as big. So I think this is about how many times I'm going to do it. So we'll cut our yarn. So now we're going to take our strand. This will be the part that will attach it to the bookmark. So I like to kind of estimate how much I want it to kind of dangle off of my bookmark here. So kind of think about, okay, yeah, where would I want it to kind of stick up? So that's about where I want mine. So not very long. That's where I'm going to cut it. And we're going to take our needle, thread it, and then we're going to slip this underneath all of those that we just did. And try not to do what I just did and catch that other one. Alright, so now that I got that threaded through, and I'm going to tie a knot on the top here. Like that. nice and tight. So it won't go anywhere. So now we'll want to very carefully slide this off. Now try to keep your loops here. And then we're going to tie the top up here. And after we've done the tying here, we'll be able to clip our bottom so it'll have the little dangly tassel look that you're familiar with. And this will clean things up a little bit too with our extra threads. So focus on your loops here, and that's what you'll cut along. Just like that. And I'll, just to keep, because this kind of sticks up, I'm going to tuck it behind the knot so it'll be more level with the other ones, and then we can trim it. Otherwise it's going to stick up kind of funky like that. So I'm just coming behind where that knot is and bringing it down. So it doesn't stick up. And then this one will probably snip because it's sticking up. So I'll cut that one. And then we'll kind of even these out a little bit more. You're more than welcome to really even them out more. I don't want to cut them too much. And I kind of like them to be more random. Now I like to hide my little knot that I made, so it's not showing. You can kind of tuck it in there. I might actually trim these just a smidge, just so they're not sticking way out. They're still there, but a little less. That way they'll probably hide better. Alright. And now we're going to attach it to our bookmark. Just take my needle with both of those ends. You may have to go a size up if it's too tricky. I might even have to. We'll see here. We'll just barely make that work. Alright, so I was able to get both of those through. So then I look for, on the top of this final part where we finished off, I kind of find the center. And then I go under two of those kind of little V's right there. So I'll pull that through. And unthread my needle. And then what you'll do is you'll kind of stick your fingers through that loop, and I'll pull this through. And then it'll kind of secure it like that. And that won't go nowhere. And it looks nice too. And then you'll just weave in your ends, and then you'll have your bookmark. The way I weave in my ends is I kind of just find the closest loop and tuck it behind. I kind of just weave it up and down and back and forth as neatly as I can. Now I'm going to work back. I got both of these ends here that I've already woven. We'll cut them off. And got all of our little ends here. And now you have your bookmark. I hope you were able to successfully make a bookmark as well. If you would like me to make other tutorials, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching.